Hey everybody, excuse the look. I just got off work, so I look a little rough, but I didn't want to miss the opportunity to speak about what I feel like God is speaking to me right now, and I feel like he's prompting me to speak about this and put it out there, so it's for somebody outside of me. Um, I remember when God began to deal with me and was trying to get me to really work on myself. He was telling me that there were some things that I had to take responsibility for. And when I heard him say that, I was almost a little angry because I remember feeling like majority of the things that I went through were connected to something that was out of my control. Um, when I first was molested, it was like a domino effect with everything else that happened in my life. And I didn't feel like I should have to take that responsibility. But at some point in my life, I began to accept that pain and that hurt, and I allowed it to control and persuade my decision making. And that part was on me. But I remember going through things, and I was so angry. When I was 6 years old, I had already been molested by two different people. And even at that age, I remember questioning why this kept happening to me. I didn't understand it. I didn't know why. But soon after that, I was introduced to pornography. And I'm not talking about no softcore porn. I mean hardcore pornography. And it just continued to lead into different things. That led into me, at the same time, I was still being molested. And now I've been physically stimulated sexually, and now I'm being visually stimulated sexually. So it warped me, and it turned into a monster. And literally every decision like that I made that truly affected my life all stemmed from that. And I was angry that God was telling me to take responsibility. But in taking responsibility, it gave me my power back. It made me know that I didn't have to stay in victimhood. I didn't have to stay in a place where someone else had control over my emotions, over my thoughts, over my actions. And it set me free. It gave me such a freedom to know that at this point, I get to choose what I do. And if I continue to allow someone else's actions to sway what I do and how I move in this world, I am forever going to stay in victimhood. And if I stay in victimhood, I'm not going to have victory over anything in my life. I cannot live the life that God destined for me if I remain a victim. And so I began to really dig, and I'll tell y'all, it's not easy. It hurts. It's hard to face some things that you probably didn't ever want to think about ever again. I remember when I started to really work on myself, something came back to my memory that I literally hadn't thought about since I was a child. And I was so ashamed because I was like, oh my God, like the things that I was doing as a child to appease my flesh is sickening. It is sad. I mean, I'm going to go on. I'm just going to step out there and be completely transparent. I became an abuser. I'm not going to put out who I abused because that's not my place to broadcast their trauma. But I abused someone. As a child, I abused someone. And then, like I said, I was just doing sick things. I became warped in myself. It wasn't just my abuser anymore. I was seeking out the abuse. It was really bad. And I didn't deal with that until I didn't face that until I was like 15, 16 years old. And God began to show me that I was sick as well. And so, like, I'm telling you, he's been dealing with me for years with this because it constantly shows up if you do not face it. If you do not go head on, if you do not fight this thing, it shows up in the worst way. There's no way to move past it if you don't deal with it head on. And I encourage everyone who has been through a trauma, especially something sexual, do not run from it. Don't excuse it. Don't sit in your victimhood. Don't be angry. Just look at it and deal with it, because you're going to gain something from knowing why and how, and it's going to propel you in some kind of way. Do not let this stuff stop you. Don't let it break you. Don't let it defeat you. Gain your victory. Do not let Satan win in that way. Because when I tell y'all, I'm sitting in this car thinking about all the things and how everything connected. When I tell y'all, I remember when I was 6 years old, 6 and 7, one of the first things that came to my mind after being abused, and it's just crazy how Satan works, one of the first things that came to my mind was, am I gay? And as I sit here, I'm sitting there like, that is insane, because at that age I really had no idea what being gay really meant. But that was something that was one of the first things that came to my mind. And so I'm like, I know there are many people that come into homosexuality based on being abused, and I'm like, y'all gotta understand that that's not that's not something that a child automatically thinks. That is something that is strategically placed for you to start exploring that idea. I don't know why. I honestly can't say why, but guys, shut that thought down in my head. But I want y'all to understand, the enemy, if you give him room to move, he is going to move. If you remain a victim, you better believe he's going to play on your victimhood. He's going to continue to bring things in your life that keep you remaining a victim. You have to decide that you want to break that cycle. Because until you break that cycle, you're going to continue to put out negativity. You're going to continue to have areas in your life that you haven't dealt with. So they're going to show up in many other ways. Whether you're going to start abusing alcohol, drugs, sex, everything. You have to break it. You have to choose to break it. No one else can do that for you. And until you decide that you are done and enough is enough, the cycle continues. And especially mothers, parents, if you have children, you got to break this stuff, because it is generational. I am proud and absolutely sure I can say me and my sister, we broke this cycle. My children, my child, my niece, my nephew, they're not going to deal with this, because we faced it, because we fought it, because we didn't accept that just because somebody else had to deal with this and it came upon us, we're not allowing it to go any further than us, because we have a decision we can make to stop it. Accept your power. Accept God's power. Understand that you are not in this alone. He knew what you went through. He knows it. He's waiting for you to step out and ask for his help. Because I'm telling you, when you ask for his help, he is going to show up for you. I hope this touched somebody. I hope it blessed somebody. I hope you start to really look within yourself and figure out what it is, and how you've pretty much settled and become content in your pain and your trauma. Face it. Don't hide it. Don't hide from it. Face it head on. I love y'all, and like I said, as God continues to work with me, I will come to y'all and speak whatever he has me speak. I love y'all. Y'all have a blessed day. Bye.